Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Cycle on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Mukhtar Kasim. A quick reminder, Global Television is on DSTV channel 365, StarTimes channel 276 and Free TV. Nigeria has called for deeper cooperation with Germany in economic development, security, renewable energy, digital innovation, and regional peace as both countries move to strengthen bilateral relations. Foreign Affairs Minister Odumegu Ojukwu-Bianka made the call during the talks with German counterpart Johann Wadt-Pohl in Abuja, describing Germany as one of Nigeria's most important strategic partners in Europe. She said both countries would continue expanding cooperation through the Nigeria-Germany Binational Commission with greater focus on trade, investment, infrastructure, artificial intelligence, agriculture, healthcare, and green economy. The Minister of Defense, General Christopher Musa, has dismissed reports of his alleged resignation as false and misleading. Speaking to State House correspondents after a meeting with President Bola Tinubu at the Presidential Villa, Abuja, General Musa said he has neither resigned nor considered stepping down from office. The Defense Minister attributed the rumors to individuals unhappy with his progress being made in the tackling of Nigeria's security challenges, insisting that the armed forces remain focused on restoring peace and strengthening national security.
Things are getting better, and so for them, you will always expect that there will be people that will not be happy when things are going well. Security situation is improving, things are getting better, and so for them is a sad point, and they will always want to make it look as if it is not so. I'm not going anywhere. I have never discussed. I don't even know who the person who brought that information, but whoever he is, we'll take the legal action against him. I'm sure we'll get him. He will come and explain who gave him such information. But I can assure Nigerians that we are fully. You can see I just came back from briefing Mr. President on the current security situation, and he's very happy with us, and now we're going to continue doing well. And I want to seize this opportunity to appreciate Nigerians for all the support. The support has been massive, and you can see the changes, and that's where we say to defeat the terrorists and the bandits is a whole of society approach, and now Nigerians are key into it, and things are getting better, and they will continue to improve.
Musa reaffirmed his commitment to supporting President Tinubu's security agenda, assuring Nigerians that the military will remain resolute in confronting all threats to the nation's peace and stability. The Senate has asked the federal government to conduct a comprehensive audit of all licensed miners and other operational sites across the country to strengthen the regulations of the mining sector. Lawmakers also called for the establishment of a statutory compensation scheme and compulsory accident insurance for mining workers funded through contributions by licensed operators. The resolution followed concerns over recurring mine collapse, unsafe mining practices, and the absence of adequate compensation for injured miners and families of victims. Meanwhile, the House of Representatives has stepped down a bill seeking to ban the production, importation, and sale of unbranded and unfortified edible oils in Nigeria. Lawmakers argued that the existing agencies, including NAFDAC and the Standard Organization of Nigeria, already possesses the legal mandate to regulate food quality and safety. They also raised concerns that the proposed legislation could negatively affect small-scale local palm oil producers, leading to its suspension for further legislative consideration. Still in the National Assembly, the House of Representatives has resolved to investigate the extent to which the South African government may have contributed to or been complicit in the recurrent xenophobic attacks against Nigerians. The resolution followed the adoption of a motion sponsored by Babajimi Benson mandating the House Committee on Diaspora and Foreign Affairs to investigate the attacks and assess the losses, damages, and casualties suffered by Nigerians. National Assembly correspondent Aniete Patrick reports.
Representatives resumed legislative activities. After its open week, lawmakers directed the Committee on Diaspora and Foreign Affairs to document abandoned properties and recommend diplomatic measures to better protect Nigerians living in South Africa. The sponsor of the motion, Representative Babajimi Benson, said the investigation will establish the cumulative human and economic impact of the attacks on Nigerians over the years, with a view to ensuring accountability for perpetrators and strengthening the protection of Nigerians in South Africa.
Worried that every successive wave of xenophobic violence has been followed by public condemnation and diplomatic protests, without a corresponding institutional effort to comprehensively document the losses suffered by Nigerians.
Lawmakers also adopted a motion by Billy Osaworu calling for stronger nationwide food safety measures to address the rising cases of foodborne diseases.
The House is concerned that despite the federal government's commitment to curb the issue of foodborne disease, Nigeria still accounts for a high number of approximately 50 million foodborne diseases and more than 53,000 deaths caused by unsafe food yearly.
The House further urged the federal government to release ecological fund resources to address shoreline erosion threatening the Esakon lubricants and chemicals blending plants in Gambarin, Bayelsa State, following a motion sponsored by Oboko Ofoji.
The House is concerned that severe shoreline erosion has caused extensive damage to the project site, delayed the project, and threatened the visibility of this important national investment.
In another development, the House adopted a motion by Ibe Osonwa calling for a comprehensive audit and digital registry of all seized, forfeited, and recovered assets in Nigeria to strengthen transparency, accountability, and public oversight.
The House is cognizant that the absence of a unified national database undermines transparency, weakens public confidence in the asset recovery process, and impedes effective legislative oversight.
The House also considered and passed the 2026 budget of the Nigerian Police Trust Fund, valued at 233.96 billion naira. From the National Assembly, Anieti Patrick, Global TV News.
Away from the National Assembly, the Minister of Education, Dr. Maruf Tunji Alausa, has commissioned an upgraded digital e-library at the Federal College of Education, Kano, as part of efforts to strengthen digital learning across the country. During an inspection of key education projects in Kano State, the minister also assessed ongoing work at the bilingual school aimed at reducing the number of out-of-school children. He said the first school is expected to open in September, while additional bilingual schools are planned to expand access to education. Dr. Alausa also reaffirmed the federal government's commitment to the proposed land swap initiative as the Federal Government College, Kano, saying the partnership will provide resources for improved classroom, hostels, and other infrastructure to enhance learning outcomes for students. Meanwhile, the Kano State government has recruited an additional 8,588 teachers and education facilitators as part of efforts to strengthen basic education and improve learning outcomes across the state. The newly recruited personnel include 4,900 permanent and pensionable teachers, as well as 3,688 better education service delivery for all BESTA cohorts. Global TV's Idris Jibrin reports.
The Sani Abacha Stadium was filled with excitement as thousands of successful applicants gathered to receive their appointment letters. The recruitment exercise marks another milestone in the Kano State government's ongoing education reforms aimed at addressing teacher shortages and improving the quality of teaching in public schools.
Let me say that every child deserves the opportunity to learn, to dream, and to fulfill their God-given potential. That opportunity begins in the classroom, and every classroom deserves a qualified, competent, and committed teacher. When we got the mandate of the good people of Kano State, we made it very, very clear to restore education to right children as the foundation of our developmental agenda.
Presenting the appointment letters, Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf described the exercise as an investment in the future of Kano's children, saying quality education remains the foundation for sustainable development. The governor stressed that beyond creating employment opportunities, the recruitment is designed to ensure that every child has access to qualified and committed teachers capable of nurturing their talent and aspirations. Governor Yusuf disclosed that since assuming office in May 2023, his administration has recruited more than 13,600 qualified teachers into basic and secondary schools. He added that the government has also supplied schools with instructional materials, trained teachers, provided free uniforms for pupils, and reopened 15 boarding schools as part of broader efforts to revive the education sector. Meanwhile, the Minister of Education, Ma'aruf Tunji Alausa, commended the Kano State government for prioritizing education and expressed satisfaction with the progress recorded over the past 3 years.
Today, we are also giving appointment letters. The government is giving appointment letters to almost 9,000 teachers and facilitators. Total of 15,000 teachers in 2 years. Thank you, Your Excellency. What the governor of Kano State is doing for us as the Federal Ministry of Education is giving us happiness.
Stakeholders believes that the recruitment of the additional teachers will help improve classroom instruction, reduce teacher shortages, and enhance access to quality basic education across Kano State. From Kano, Idris Jibrin, Global Television News.
Now to Benue State. Hundreds of amputees in the state are set to walk again as the Benue State University Teaching Hospital through the BSUTH Care Foundation begins the fitting and distribution of 330 prosthetic limbs valued at over 200 million naira. The intervention is expected to restore mobility, dignity, and renewed hope to beneficiaries. Correspondent Felicity Ndere reports.
For many amputees, the loss of a limb has meant years of pain, limited movement, and financial hardship, with prosthetic devices remaining out of reach due to their high cost. Determined to change that narrative, the Benue State University Teaching Hospital, through the BSUTH Cares Foundation, has commenced the fitting and distribution of 330 prosthetic limbs donated by the Ishuk Tolerant Foundation, bringing new hope to hundreds of beneficiaries.
They gave us hope when they told us to take a measurement. Today they are renewing the hope by giving us the prosthetics.
The coordinator, Office of the First Lady of Benue State, Scholastica Bensel, says the intervention demonstrates compassion in action and reflects the state's commitment to restoring dignity, confidence, and independence to persons living with disabilities.
A disabled community, it's already a backward one, but I'm not saying that their limitation is something that is able to limit them, because they have a brain, they can use it for a lot. But right now, we need more of human capital. And these are people that, if they have their hands, their feet, will achieve more in Benue State.
The Chief Medical Director of BSUTH, Dr. Stephen Hwandi, says the initiative underscores the hospital's commitment to inclusive and accessible healthcare, stressing that the facility remains dedicated to saving patients from Benue and across the country.
Now we are doing neurosurgery here, we are doing IVF here, we have molecular lab, we are treating infectious diseases. We have employed these prosthesis people, they will be doing these things here. So for me, if I get the right support from government and the people, then within a short time, these teachers will do anything anybody will do.
Administrative head of the Ishuk Tolaram Foundation, Alaka Jao Motoyosi, reaffirmed the foundation's commitment to expanding access to prosthetic care through strategic partnerships aimed at improving the lives of vulnerable Nigerians.
Here, we have come to give 330 people in Benue for this program, and the rough estimate for one is $150.
Overwhelmed with emotions, beneficiaries described the intervention as life-changing, saying it has given them a second chance to work and live independently.
I was very happy because it's too expensive. I would do the new one in Kano about 1.something million, but this one I got it free.
The intervention reinforced the impact of collaboration between government, healthcare institutions, and development partners in delivering life-changing medical support and improving the quality of life for persons living with disabilities. In Makudi, Felicity Ndare reporting for Global Television News.
You're watching the live broadcast of News Cycle. News Cycle continues after this weather forecast, plus business, foreign and sports stories. On the other side of this break, please stay with us.
Welcome. We are tracking a very active weather pattern across Nigeria today, with the satellite imagery already showing thunderstorms developing around parts of the northeast and around the Federal Capital Territory. These storms will continue to build through the afternoon and evening, gradually pushing westwards overnight. So by Thursday morning, residents across Sokoto, Zamfara, some parts of Kebbi, Kaduna and Kano State should prepare for thunderstorms, with some areas experiencing moderate rainfall as the day unfolds. Similar conditions are expected to extend into parts of Adamawa and also Taraba states. Much of the north-central region, including the Federal Capital Territory, are expected to see thunderstorms becoming more widespread during the afternoon hours, bringing moderate rainfall to parts of Nasarawa, Kogi, Benue, some parts of Niger, Kwara and Plateau states. Down south may begin with a very few light showers around Lagos, Ogun, Ondo, some parts of Edo, but don't let the quiet start fool you. As daytime heating increases, rain and thunderstorms will become more active, with moderate rainfall expected across most parts of the southern states. So whether you're heading out early or planning any activities later in the day, keep an umbrella handy. Avoid flood-prone areas during heavy downpours and stay weather aware. Thank you for watching.
You're welcome back from that break. And now to business news. Nigeria's external reserves has risen to $52.02 billion, the highest level since January 2009, surpassing the central bank's projection for 2026. The latest figures represent an increase of about $570 million from the end of June, extending the month of steady reserve growth. Analysts say the sustained increase strengthens Nigeria's external position and provides additional support for exchange rate stability and investor confidence. The Presidential Enabling Environment Council, PEBEC, has stepped up reforms to make Nigeria a more attractive investment destination, targeting 7-day cargo clearance at the nation's seaport and 72 hours resolution of business complaints. Director General of the BEPEC, Princess Zara Audu, disclosed this during the State House Meet the Press briefing in Abuja while highlighting the Council's achievements since January 2025. Kikela Mokere reports.
The Director General of the Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council, Princess Zara Audu, says The reforms are dismantling bureaucratic bottlenecks, strengthening investors' confidence, stimulating private sector growth, and accelerating President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's vision of building a $1 trillion economy. She says implementation of the Business Facilitation Act has improved transparency, enforced service delivery standard, and strengthened compliance across 69 business-facing ministries, departments, and agencies. Audu adds that Nigeria has adopted the Nigerian Regulatory Impact Analysis Framework to ensure all regulations are evidence-driven, predictable, and backed by broad stakeholders consultation.
In addition to that, I mentioned that we have our signages. So we put up, in fact, as we speak right now, some are still being deployed within the Apapa and Tinkan corridors. Now we have identified the legal checkpoints. And at every legal checkpoint, you have a signage which has PEBEC and NPA, right, working in collaboration. And on there has the QR code that leads to the back end of the portal, well, which leads to the portal for escalation of issues. In addition to that, as we speak now, we have a stakeholder engagement which is for sensitization of the truckers.
The PBEC Director General says the Upgrade Report Gov platform now enables businesses to submit complaints directly to relevant government agencies, with all cases tracked in real time and resolved within 72 hours. She adds that Report Gov kiosks have been deployed at major airports and seaports to improve access to government services and strengthening accountability. On port reform, Audu says PBEC is working with relevant agencies to cut cargo's dwell time from 21 days to 7 days through joint inspection, deployment of cargo scanners, and the removal of illegal checkpoints along the Apapa and Tinkan port corridors.
And we actually signed an accord, and the whole idea behind the accord was to say that, you know, as administrators in President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration, we align towards ensuring that we promote efficiency, transparency, and optimize all our services across. And that's a beginning, because without communication, without interfacing, without collaboration, you know, we continue to frustrate the businesses.
Audu further reveals that regulatory duplication has been reduced through strategic collaboration among Standard Organization of Nigeria and NAFDAC and the other relevant stakeholders, while stronger engagement with state government is driving ease of doing business reforms across the Federation. The PBEC Director General further reveals that the Council has resolved key challenges involving the e-visa regime, driver's license processing, and financial reporting regulations, assuring local and foreign investors of a more transparent, predictable, and global competitive business environment. Kike Lomo Okeri, Global TV News.
Talking business, the federal government has settled 333.12 billion naira in verified legacy debt owed to 8 electricity generation companies operating 17 power plants as it launched the second phase of the bond issuance under the Presidential Power Sector Financial Reform Program. The special advisor to the President on Energy, Olu Vehejin, disclosed this at an investor forum in Abuja to mark the Series 2 bond to institutional investor, development finance institutions, and other financial market participants. According to her, the latest disbursement follows an earlier Series 1 issuance under which the government deployed about 501 billion naira, comprising 300 billion in cash and about 201 billion through the non-cash bond instrument to set roughly 22% of the obligations executed agreements with electricity generation companies. And now to the foreign scene. ECOWAS has reaffirmed plans to launch its single regional currency, the ECO, in 2027 as part of efforts to deepen economic integration across West Africa. The bloc said the currency would likely be introduced in phases, with only countries meeting the agreed economic convergence criteria participating in the initial rollout. ECOWAS added that the consultations on the future central bank governance framework and participating member states would continue ahead of its December summit. The United States and Saudi Arabia are expected to announce an agreement allowing the kingdom to develop a civilian nuclear power program with support from American companies. Reports say the proposed 30-year agreement would permit United States firms to operate nuclear facilities in Saudi Arabia and could also allow the kingdom to enrich fuel for civilian reactors. The planned deal has drawn concerns from nuclear experts and Israeli officials who fear it could eventually strengthen Saudi Arabia's capacity to develop nuclear weapons. Meanwhile, the United States President Donald Trump has warned of a swift American response if Yemen's Iran-backed Houthi rebels carry out their threat to impose a blockade on Saudi Arabian port, signaling Washington's readiness to protect regional security and international maritime trade. President Trump made the remarks during a meeting with Lebanese President Joseph Aoun at the White House, where discussions focused on security developments across the Middle East. Samuel Odi reports.
Responding to reports of Houthis' threat to target Saudi ports, Trump says the United States would not hesitate to act if such a move materialized, citing previous military action against the group. The president noted earlier that U.S. operations had significantly weakened the Houthis' capacity, adding that the group had remained relatively quiet following those strikes.
So far, it hasn't happened, might happen. But we take care of things. If something like that happens, we take care of it. You know, we've done that with the Houthis before, and we haven't heard from them in a while since we did what we did originally. That was about 45 days of very powerful action we took against the Houthis. And we've had no problem with the Houthis. They've had no problem with us for a long period of time, including during this conflict. I think that if there is something like that, we'll just have to take care of business.
The Houthis, who are backed by Iran, have repeatedly threatened shipping routes and regional infrastructure action that have heightened tension in the Red Sea and Gulf region and raised concerns over global energy supply and commercial shipping. Trump's latest warning underscores Washington's continued commitment to safeguarding strategic maritime routes and supporting regional allies, as concerns persist over escalating tension involving Iran-backed armed group in the Middle East. Samuel Odi, Global TV News.
And in sport, Nigeria's Flying Eagles have arrived in Ivory Coast ahead of the 2026 WAFU B Under-20 Championship, where they will defend their regional title. The team will open its campaign against Ghana before taking on Togo and Burkina Faso in the group stage under head coach Aliyu Zubairu. Nigeria is seeking to retain the WAFU B crown as part of preparations for future continental competitions. And that's it on News Cycle. Here is a quick reminder. Global Television is on DSTV channel 365, Star Times channel 276 and Free TV. Kindly follow us across all our social media platforms now displaying on your screen by using our Global TV NG. I am Mukhtar Kasim, saying a very big thank you for watching.